It's Bridget from Bees in the Garden. It's the first week of February, and guess what? It's snowing again. So we're going to go and do some indoor projects again, and it's going to be about one of my favorite things in the world. And this is another one of my favorite things in the world, my puppy Remington. Now, I thought we would take a look at the spring pot that we were making. It's actually coming along really nice, and some of the hyacinths are getting ready to flower. So the house is going to smell so nice. And then I thought we would also take a look at some of the orchids that I have growing in my home, because I have a confession for you. I love orchids. I could have an orchid in every shape, every color, every kind. I think they're just so exotic looking and so beautiful. Now, I actually have one more confession. I'm thrifty. So I don't ever, unless it's a last resort, throw my orchids away. I probably have about 20 orchids in my house. I'm going to show you a few of them. A couple of them are flowering right now, but I pretty much have had all of those orchids reflower for me. So stop throwing your orchids away. You can get them to reflower and then have those blooms in your house year after year after year. So let's stop right now. We'll take a look at my orchids and I'll show you what I do with them and give you a little bit of advice. Here's the spring pot. The color of that orchid, I just love it. Such a beautiful lavender color. And the hyacinths, I snuck a peek, they are going to be pink. So that is going to be such a beautiful combination. Just love it. Now, if we take a peek down here, you can see the houseplant and the leaves on that houseplant just coordinate with that flower color of the orchid and the soon-to-be hyacinth. I really can't wait for the smell to just fill the house. And the paperwhites are starting to grow a little bit as well. So that's going to be really nice. I'm looking forward to that a lot. Now my orchids, they are growing in a north-facing window, which is not ideal. But here's a small miniature one. It has smaller leaves, a little more compact, a smaller flower. But isn't that pretty? And then I also have a larger phalaenopsis. It has bigger leaves, but also bigger flowers. So that makes a really nice impact. Such a nice flower to look at when it's dull and gray and white outside. Just what you need in February, right? I also have dendrobium orchids. These get bright yellow flowers. And then I have oncidium. These get long sprays of a yellow and kind of orangish flower. Really pretty. Now I also find that phalaenopsis orchids are the easiest ones that I can get to reflower. Here's another oncidium. I find that if there's a temperature difference between day and night, that seems to help. So they always seem to set their flowers in the winter for me. And I think because they're growing close to the window, the temperature goes down at night, and then in the day it warms up again. So I seem to always have good luck. Just beautiful. So let's show you how I get these to flower. Okay, so taking care of orchids is actually pretty easy. Now, the first consideration is, what does it grow in? It does not grow in dirt, okay? So in nature, orchids grow on bark of trees or on other plants. And so their roots will attach to the bark, and then it'll get moisture from the rain and from the material breaking down actually to fertilize them. So in your home, you can grow orchids in moss. You can grow orchids in this prepared orchid mixture that you can get at the garden centers or even the home hardwares, those kinds of places. And this one is a mixture of bark, perlite, sometimes there's charcoal in there. I like to grow my orchids in these clay pellets. So just little clay balls. And the purpose for all of these growing mediums is to allow the roots to not stay saturated in the water, to allow them to drain, and then just to get some airflow. And actually sometimes you'll see pots that are meant for orchids actually have holes right in the sides of them. So the other thing to consider is light. Now I'm at a bit of a disadvantage in my home because the biggest set of windows that I have face north. So that is where I put my orchids. And you know, it's not ideal. Ideally an east-facing window or even a south-facing window, but with some filtered light coming through, maybe from some curtains or from some shears, that would be perfect. Now I grow mine in the north and it works, so you know, if I can grow it there, then you can probably grow it in your conditions as well. And the other thing is, how do you water this? So like I said before, water and staying wet will kill your roots. So how I water them is I'll fill this pot with water and then I'll just completely let that sit in there for about 10 minutes or so, and then I'll drain it, okay? Pour this extra water out, make sure that's drained completely, and then I'll put it back in its decorative pot. And then about once a month, I like to spritz mine with some orchid fertilizer, and I bought this one at the hardware stores, and I just spritz it on the roots, and then it gets a good feeding. Now, when your orchid is finished flowering, you can see the stalk here. Don't cut it off at the base. What you want to do is, there are some small nodes right about there where flowers would come out, basically like the growing points. You cut it down to one of those, and then quite often the orchid will start growing off a new flower stem from that point, and then it still flowers for months and months, because these will actually last quite a long time, these flowers. So that is it. I hope you guys have good luck. Please don't throw your orchids away. Give it a try, because I mean, they can get quite expensive, so that would be such a waste. And then often, like some of your husbands or sweethearts give you these as a memento, so it's a bit sentimental as well. So good luck. See you next time. Bye.